Box office here, and yes, we'll be talking about the top grossing movie, which is still Despicable Me 4. Likely won't be the next week because Twisters is expected to open to a big amount at the box office as well, 50 to 60 million, which is still pretty good. But Despicable Me 4 opened to a pretty small opening compared to other movies, 35 million, but it had a really great drop of 44 million. I said that this movie is gonna overperform the so-called second week, which they put in line with the other movies in the series. And yeah, we can also compare it to the other movies in the series, which I think includes Despicable Me and Minions as well. So they are saying that this movie is horrible, and Francis Utique is gonna win, and people are not gonna watch it, or something like that. But this is Despicable Me 4. Don't know what movie this, or Despicable Me 2. I don't know why the box office is like that, but Despicable Me 4 has 12th week. Compare that to Minions, which is at 229 million at the same time. The unreliable numbers of Despicable Me 2, and then you have Despicable Me Rise of Gru at around $220 million. Despicable Me 4 is running only 10 million behind the last two movies. So the movie is having incredible ratings. Despite every YouTube critic saying this movie is awful, despite what Rotten Tomatoes gave it, the 53%, it seems that people don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. And you say, but it's because it's a kids movie. But throughout this year has proven time and time again that Rotten Tomatoes scores do not matter. For example, Godzilla, that movie had a really similar score to this movie, and people went to go see Godzilla in the theaters in mass. It didn't have the best of ratings in the world, but it still was very successful. So you can compare it to the last Minions movie, which was released in 2021. The next Minions movie is expected to release in 2027. But you compare this to Minions The Rise of Gru at the same time as Gru in the early week. Yes, if you look at the day-to-day thing here, it seems that Despicable Me Minions Rise of Gru, Despicable Me 4 is actually having better ratings than Minions The Rise of Gru. Okay. Yes, this movie's having better ratings. Of course, the Minions Rise of Gru had a way bigger opening, but the Despicable Me 4 is having very good ratings. There's also a possibility if this movie continues having insanely good ratings, that the movie will make a similar amount of money to The Rise of Gru. It is currently on day 12, only around 13 million behind the last movie. And you can also compare it to Despicable Me 3. And yes, we'll compare it to other Despicable Me movies because that makes the most amount of sense. And this movie's performing way better than Despicable Me 3, whereas that movie was considered a disappointment sales-wise. And the movie didn't have very good ratings either. And people were like, meh. The movie still made $1 billion because of its massive international haul. But if we compare this to Despicable Me 4, the movie had way worse ratings. And they opened at the similar time as well. So Despicable Me 3, there is no if in doubt the movie is going to outbeat Despicable Me 3. Even if it doesn't for inflation, the movie has basically surpassed Despicable Me 3 as Despicable Me 3's 12th week. The movie is at $192 million if you adjust it for inflation. That is still, Despicable Me 4 is still beating Despicable Me 3. Okay, Rise of Gru is at $337 million adjusted for inflation. Despicable Me 3 would have actually made $316 million if it released today. But Despicable Me 4 will make $1 billion. It really depends on the international gross, as these movies have been declining in international interest. And that is a thing, is that movies need to do very well domestically and internationally to make $1 billion, as proven by last year and this year. For example, we're going to get to Inside Out 2 in a minute, but look at last year. International numbers basically made a decent chunk of the sale at the box office, but no of the highest grossing movies had a huge international sale. If you compare it to Despicable Me 3, Okay, Despicable Me 3 had a 25% domestic sale. If you go to Despicable Me 4, you have to go all the way back to 2024. Will it hit that $1 billion? Well, currently, as of now, of course, they have not updated the international numbers for the movie. The movie has a 65% domestic sale. Of course, they have not updated the international numbers for this movie yet, so we can't really tell if how the international numbers are doing because there is no update for the international numbers for Despicable Me 4 yet. So, Despicable Me 4, despite all of the things the critics give it, the movie is performing very well. And it's having very good ratings, very similar to Garfield. And also, it makes you see that it's a kid's movie. That's the only reason why it's making money. Yes, that's the only reason why a movie makes money, because it's a kid's movie, okay? That is the stupidest argument ever. Because several other movies had pretty decent ratings, even though they didn't make that much money. Like, The Fall Guy had very, very good ratings at the box office. It had a very bad opening, but The Fall Guy had very, very good ratings at the box office. Did he have The Fall Guy here? You know, it did very well ratings-wise, okay? The movie had pretty poor ratings at the beginning, but the movie picked up near the end of its box office run. Or if had pretty good ratings, and of course Garfield, the king of ratings, obviously. But you see, Inside Out 2, even Inside Out 2 has above average ratings for a movie. Yeah, so Inside Out 2 has $532 million. Yeah, but the movie, I don't know if the ratings have not slowed down for this movie. The ratings have not slowed down for this movie. The movie has performed above average for a movie. So, now let's get to the rest of the box office. Long Legs is the highest opening by Neon ever. As well, don't know the budget for this movie, but this is one of the two major movies releasing this weekend. This and Fly Me to the Moon. But this movie probably doesn't have any budget. It's a Neon movie. Neon movies typically had very small openings because Neon is an indie studio. For example, the highest grossing movie is Parasite, which is a foreign movie, and I, Tonya. So they don't really have a lot of very successful movies. It seems that Neon, I think, is a newer studio. They have the first movies came out in 2017. It seems that Neon had the first real successful movie at the box office, and will likely surpass Parasite very quickly as Neon's highest grossing movie. So Long Legs, very successful movie at the box office. And Inside Out 2, finally getting to Inside Out 2, and the movie still continues to have very good ratings at the box office despite of competition coming out. Okay, this movie actually overperformed the so-called expectations. They were expecting this movie to have around 15 million, but it actually overperformed and only dropped 32%. So Inside Out 2 continues to overperform these so-called expectations, as well, and it is one of the highest selling movies of all time as well. Hopefully Pixar doesn't get the wrong message out of this, obviously, but yeah, A Quiet Place Day 1 continues to make money at the box office. Not very good ratings for this movie, but it has made $110 million, $16 million. There was no updates for international numbers for this movie. I think the only one that really has it is Inside Out. I don't think Inside Out has international numbers updated. So Quiet Place is making a decent chunk of money. This is without the international updates as well for the movie. So yeah, Fly Me to the Moon. We talked about this movie yesterday. We don't want to talk about it too much, but yes, this movie costed $100 million to make, and no one went to go see it. Again, Hollywood's non-franchise curse continues as yet another non-franchise movie bombs. And it's funny, they always talk about how we want original movies, how we want, If I Made a Movie, it's not a big budget movie, how we want these smaller movies, these smaller projects back, and we want them to, but no one goes to see them. No one went to go see The Bike Riders, which is another smaller movie, and no one's going to see Fly Me to the Moon. Same story, same Pixar challenges, no one went to go see that, and all these movies that we saw in June, the reason why June's not June, April, the reason why April of this year's box office is so bad is that it solely relied on the non-franchise movie to make money and holdovers from March movies as well. It solely relied on non-franchise movies. I get there was the strikes in Hollywood and stuff. You kind of have to push back a lot of things, but basically it was just a bunch of non-franchise movies that no one cared about. I think the best-selling movie was that Civil War movie. Yeah, that really weird movie that came out that was very controversial. That's the only movie that really made some sort of impact on the global box office as well. But Silencers was a flop, and all these other movies they released was a flop. Abigail. It's funny, they say, oh, we want these smaller, non-franchise, non-IP movies, but no one goes to see them. Bad Boys Ride or Die continues to make money. This movie is nearing the end of its box office run, but it has made $184 million. Let's compare that to the last Bad Boys movie, which was Bad Boys for Life as well. See how better it's performing. And yeah, Bad Boys for Life, it is performing exactly very similar to that movie. So, and this movie was released before the pandemic started. So, it was released before the pandemic started. So, it was probably going to eventually end up making way more money than it did. But it is performing very similarly to that movie. So yeah, Bad Boys Ride or Die continues to make money at the box office as well. So next is Horizon American Chapter. American Flop Chapter 1. No one went to go see this movie at all. So this is another non-franchise failure. So next is Maxine. It's an indie movie, so it's made a decent chunk of money. I don't know how much this movie cost, but usually it's an A24 movie, so it's probably an indie movie that probably costed almost nothing to make as well. I'm just too lazy to look up the budget for the movie. And then we have The Sound of Hope, story of Parson Swat. Again, they didn't get the Sound of Freedom success they didn't get the Sound of Freedom success, but this movie did pretty alright. I think, this movie has a production. This movie has a production budget. They have a budget here of $8.5 million. So this movie needs to make $21 million to break even. It's probably not gonna make that much money without an international release. Almost, yeah. So yeah, no, this movie didn't do too well. Again, Angel Studios couldn't really get another Sound of Freedom. They really wanted to have a Sound of Freedom 2, basically a repeat success, but seems that it didn't happen. Next is The Lion King. Yes, they released The Lion King in the theaters, the original movie as well. But yeah, the movie was released into the theaters, which continues a trend of old movies being released into the theaters for probably nostalgia reasons. So people who have nostalgia for The Lion King can go see it in the theaters, or people who have never seen the theaters before can go watch the movie in the theaters. This continues a trend of releases coming out in slow times. And of course, we have the final numbers for Planet of the Apes, and the movie is $5 million from breaking even, which means this movie is a wash. Will we get another Planet of the Apes movie? Who knows at this point? But yep, that's it about this video here. Goodbye.